Hello, further we are going to discuss about the unification of Germany. I have already discussed in the context of Vienna Convention, okay, where a redrawal of boundaries had taken place across the Europe. And in the Vienna Congress, we had finally seen, which happened in 1815 AD, that 39, 38, in fact 38 German states, they were combined with one major state of Austria, and what was formed? We had seen over here 39 German Confederacy. This we had seen during the time of Vienna Convention. Okay. Now, another thing we will study in unification of Germany is that approximately 300, okay, approximately 300 feudalistic states of Germany, we will see that how under Bismarck and King Wilhelm that these feudalistic states will be converted into one whole unit, one whole political unit. Is it clear? Now by this we'll see that unification of Germany is done. Reasons I have already discussed, that economy is equal to empire, or you can say economy is equal to power, right, leading to be one of the most powerful nation. And there was already prevalence of arms race across the Europe. Every nation wanted to gain more and more colonies. The spread, the role of the intellectual philosophers we have seen, the role these multiple revolutions played on the people, right? All this had led to awareness. So let's start it over here. That one more thing I would like to add, that the unification of Germany, basically we will notice two parts over here, that these 300 feudalistic states, okay, we will notice that these 300 feudalistic states will be unified in they will be unified into one part. First we will see that in the northern part of Germany, we will notice that blood and iron policy of Bismarck will be applied. In the southern part of Germany, we will notice that via diplomacy, right? Via diplomacy, we see that via diplomacy, we see that both the states are brought together under the leadership of King Wilhelm, right? And this blood and iron policy is of Bismarck. Rough idea I'm giving you over here. Let's very quickly begin the class. There will be various social factors, economic factors. Zollverein will see all this. So Napoleon, he had already created a Rhine Federation by amalgamating 28 states of Germany. These steps, all this, or you can say the later effects of French Revolution, it gave sense of unity over here. However, the Congress of Vienna, it had put Germany under the overlordship of Austria, right, as a federation, which is, we have seen 39 German federations was formed here. And it was this federation which had inhibited the unification of Germany. Now, during the first half of 19th century, the process of unification of Germany, it took place ultimately. It was a very slow process, right? People, they felt more connected to their local region, and Austrian Empire, it had already a strong control over Germany. Understand that Germany over here had become such a strong empire that it entered the arms race. It entered the aggressive nationalism. And when it entered the arms race, Germany became a bone of contention for the Britishers, right? And the character of the later autocrat ruler of Germany, Kaiser Wilhelm, will see that he was a very, he was autocrat, right? We will also see that added fuel to fire. These all the things will become the causes of World War One. And in later stages, we have seen that Germany will be defeated in World War One. A treaty of Versailles will be signed, which will be very humiliating on the part of Germany. Again, we will see rise of Hitler, and again we will see spread of Nazism, right? And here we are going to notice that again this becomes the cause of World War II. Is it clear? So Germany, definitely yes, the arms race and the aggressive nationalism of Germany leads to two major wars, World War One and World War II. And UPSC on this context has asked a question already in mains. Okay. Now understand that German army, it was still decentralized and it was weak, which was still using the obsolete technique of warfare until the Industrial Revolution started in Germany. Understand that these are your Baltic states, and this is the whole feudalistic state, you can say, which comprised of 300 units, and this was seen in Germany. Is it clear? Now, the ideas of democracy and nationalism, they had still not arrived in Germany. Why? Because it was still living in this feudalistic age and it was under the lordship of Austria. And it is said that the Germans were least connected through any kind of political unity. Also, the old Habsburg dynasty was ruling under the control of Austrian Empire. Is it clear? So you see how things were going on in Germany. Now, but there were two factions of people in Germany. One was the reformist. Okay? He wanted to establish a German empire under the aegis of Prussia. We will see. I've discussed you in Vienna Convention also that along with Britain, Prussia and Russia, they all wanted anti-Napoleonic laws. They all wanted to go back to the anti-Napoleonic era, right? We will notice here, Prussia is also strong because of the presence of coal and iron fields over here. Now, another one were reactionists. They wanted this continuation of the old dynasty, or you can say old feudalistic order, to go on. We have already discussed a lot what is feudalism and all in the Dark Ages. You can see in the lecture 1. So, what happened? These European powers, they had different interests in Germany. For example, England, it wanted to control the Hanover region of Germany due to the former royal connection. Austria, it wanted to control the German states so that the power of the older Habsburg dynasty, it remained the same. France, it was interested in the southern part of Germany, which had connections with the Roman Catholics. Now see,